Good morning, Knights. Today's November the 14th. I'm Lucas Olivera.
And I'm Bella Rodriguez.
And you're watching Night TV.
We all know the importance of inclusion and equality. During my sophomore year in IHS, I covered the girls' wrestling team, and this became one of my favorite projects. So I'm glad to say we're back to this topic. Let's hand it over to Campbell, Melanie, and Destiny for an inside look at our girls' wrestling team.
Basically, you can do anything you put your mind to. So if you want to go wrestle with the guys, you wrestle with the guys.
This year at Independence High School, a huge change happened in the IHS girls' wrestling team. In the past, not many girls were in the team until this year, which made a huge impact not only to the school, but to the girls as well.
People respect you a little bit more since you're taking a step out and doing a guy-dominated sport.
I feel very strong when I wrestle because, it's meant for guys, and guys are usually always strong. And so when you find out that you can do something that guys can do, you're like, this is so cool.
Being a girl in wrestling does make us feel really empowered. I think I can say that for all of us because it isn't really seen as a girly sport at all.
Wrestling in general has always been known to be a male-dominated sport, but as the years passed at Independence, girls started to see other girls succeed in the sport, and the perception of girls in wrestling changed.
Our girls were doing very well in winning, and once we start winning, people start noticing, and then people start talking about it, and then eventually people start joining.
I think it's more of the fact that we had quite a decent, about 5 to 6 girls last year, and so the whole kind of stigmatism about it being a male-dominated sport, girls don't wrestle, that kind of helped out, and so they kind of get to a certain number, and then it just kind of falls in from there.
In Independence opening years, there were fewer than 5 girls on the wrestling team. However, last year there was roughly 10 girls, and now there are about 20 girls in the 2019-2020 IHS wrestling team.
It's changed a lot. There's a lot more diversity and a lot more girls because freshman year there was only 2 other girls, including me, but now we have roughly around 20 girls.
Hopefully, we'll be able to have, 20, 30 girls out eventually. Right now we have about 16 to 20, depending on the day. And hopefully we'll be a powerhouse here soon within the state of Texas.
The future for IHS wrestling is bright as the coaches and the current team members continue to inspire more girls to play and in turn make the team stronger.
Definitely do it because it's not as hard as you think. It's not like the guys are going to make fun of you, and it's not like you're going to be the weakest person there.
Just do it. Even though it may be a little bit scary because, there may not be a lot of girls doing it, you'll probably enjoy it.
I say do it. Like I said, what's holding you back? Like I said, go if you're the first one or if that's something that you want to do, then go ahead and do it. There's no reason why you shouldn't do it. Who cares if it's a male-dominated sport?
It gives you a feeling of empowerment, so it's definitely worth it. It is a lot of work, so you have to be motivated all the time, and you have to be willing to put in the work.
I love seeing the commitment and motivation of our athletes here in Independence.
I agree with you, Lucas. They're great. Talking about athletes, this week our Knights are heading into their first round of playoffs.
Well, our very own Shakar Pinham and Kevin Bhaskar bring us more information. For that, they sat down with Coach Story to reflect on the upcoming game.
I'm here alongside Coach Kyle Story, the head of the football team. Coach, this football team started off the season red hot. They were smashing teams. One would think this is a basketball team rather than a football team. And if you look at some of the wins, Richardson Pierce 57-14, Memorial 49-20, Denton 63-7, Liberty 61-7, and then Heritage 49-7. Tell me, how did this team achieve such great success from the get-go?
Well, part of it is the level of competition. The people we were playing early in the year weren't the same level that we got to later in the season, and we knew that going in as a coaching staff that we weren't playing people in the top 10, top 15 like we knew we were going to be. So they were going to get closer and the games were going to get tougher. But we did come out and we executed well, even if it wasn't against as high a caliber of competition. You still have to execute, and to put that many points on the board, even if you're going out there on air in practice, it's tough not to drop a ball or whatever. But to go out there and execute, we did really well and had good games the first part of the year, and then got into the tougher part of the season and the tougher schedule, where we got to Lone Star, was the #1 team in the state, and had just gone down and beaten Highland Park at their place, which hadn't happened in a long time. And that's probably the most talented Lone Star team that I've seen since we've been playing them. But the schedule got tougher, but we did open up fast and put a lot of numbers up, and I was really proud not only of the offense for scoring those points, but also defensively. They set us up with great field position at times. Defense and special teams has a lot to do with how many points you score, just because they're getting stops and getting you with good field position, and it makes it easy to go down and score some points in a hurry.
You talked about that Lone Star team being pretty incredible. I would say that's the first real test after that easy part of the schedule. And you went down to the store and, like, say it didn't really go so well.
No, it didn't.
14 for us and a loss. So what can you say happened in that game from your perspective?
Well, we went in with the idea defensively that we had to take away Marvin Mims, because he had just scoring touchdowns on everybody every time he touched the ball. So we tried to take him out of the game, and to do that, it limited our ability to focus on the rest of their threats, or have enough people where they needed to be for the rest of their threats. And they did a good job getting it to other people and still scoring points with their running back and their other receivers. So they did a great job, and they're just really talented. Offensively, we struggled. We didn't move the ball very well at all, and their defense pretty well shut us down, to be honest with you. They were all over the place, and we weren't able to execute against them. So if at some point, we get it to them in the playoffs, hopefully we'll have a better game if we get a chance to play them again later in the playoffs.
Something that wasn't great afterward is that the next day there was a forfeit for the Heritage game that I mentioned earlier. You guys won that game 49-7, blowing them out, but due to a UIL violation, that was just taken away.
That's right.
So basically 2 losses in the span of 24 hours. How did the team go through the motions? What was the coaching staff? What were the players thinking through that whole time period?
Well, we actually knew about it a day or two before the Lone Star game, but decided we were going to wait until the team after the game, win, lose, or draw with the Lone Star game. We're going to let them know then. But we got blown out in the Lone Star game, and that's a pretty emotional time being down from that. Got back here to the field house and got in the dressing room and told them, hey, we did have an ineligible player that played against Heritage. We understood that he was eligible, and we missed him on the failure list, so it was our fault for not making sure that we caught it on the failure list. And he did play in the second half against Heritage in a backup role and got in some time. And that's just a UIL rule. If you play an ineligible player, you're going to forfeit the game. I've never seen it go any other way than that. So I knew that was what was going to happen. So we got back here to the dressing room and told the players about it, and they were in disbelief at first. But then their attitude was, hey, we're still going to find a way to get it done. We may have had to give one away to Heritage, and we actually beat them on the field, but we have to give it to them in the one-loss column. But we're going to come back and we're going to find a way to win the rest of these games and still finish in second, even though Lone Star had just blown us out. So I was really proud of our kids' resolve to get past that and to come back on that next Monday and go to work and get ready to beat Wakeland the next week.
So you were saying that, you guys had to play harder teams right after that forfeit and the Lone Star team. So what was the mentality going into those games? I know you kind of elaborated earlier, but tell me more about it.
Well, it was just the resolve that we have to get it done. We didn't leave ourselves any room for error anymore after having to forfeit the Heritage game. And the preparation and the getting ready to play Wakeland was just at an all-time high after getting beat the week before. Some people, when you get some adversity like that and you get blown out and you question if you're very good or not, these guys didn't. They just came back and said, hey, we're going to find a way to get it done. We're going to beat Wakeland, and then we're going to go to Little Elm and get it done there, and then the same thing with the Colony. So they just had the mindset that we're not going to let that hold us back, and we may be facing a little bit of adversity, but rather than crawling into a corner and feeling sorry for ourselves, we're going to come back out and we're going to fight and show them how good we really are.
So one of those wins in that span of hard teams was the win against Colony. You guys beat them in double overtime, 44-37 the final score. Tell me, how did this team pull it off?
Well, I'll tell you what, at halftime we were down 21-7, and we had two drives where we moved the ball down there into their territory, but we didn't finish them off and score any points. So very easily could have been tied 21-21. So going in, there was a little bit of lack of emotion and maybe even some doubt in the locker room, but we were like, hey, we ought to be tied right now 21 all or possibly even up 28-21 if we execute like we're capable of. We got to keep playing. And we always talk about the only play that matters is the next one. So no matter if that last one we scored a touchdown or we fumbled the ball and they had a scoop and score for a touchdown, no matter if it's good or bad, we got to be ready to play the next play because that's the only one that matters. So that's kind of their mindset coming out for the second half. And we received the kickoff and we went right down the field and scored and got back within 7. And then it was just a dogfight going back and forth. We scored to go up on them with a little over 2 minutes to go. I believe we were up 31-24 at that point. And then they came right back down the field, and they got one to tie it up to put it into overtime. And then overtime was crazy. They score, and they kick a low extra point, and we block it. And, of course, then we go down and score. And before that, I told Coach Lavender on the phones, I said, hey, if they score a touchdown, after we score our touchdown, we're going for 2. We're going to win it in this first overtime is what we're going to do. So we already had our 2-point play ready to go. Well, when we blocked their extra point, of course, we don't need the 2-point play anymore. So we're going out to kick the extra point, and then they block ours. And so it went right back to double overtime at that point. And we're able to score with our possession and then get an interception on that last play in the end zone. Braden came up with a big interception for us, and then we just celebrated. And it was a huge turn of emotions at that point.
So that win put us in great position for the playoffs, and as you ended up having control of your destiny. Now, heading into the first round of playoffs, you play Mansfield Timberview, a great opponent. What can you tell me about them and their game plan towards going to this crucial playoff match?
Well, they're a really talented team, Mansfield Timberview is. They've got a quarterback that's already committed to go to Texas as a running back. He's playing quarterback for Timberview, and he also throws the ball pretty well. And then their running back is committed to go to Colorado. He's really good and an explosive runner. And their offensive line is just huge. Look like they're all about 300 pounds and just maul you up front. And I also have a receiver that I know visited Notre Dame. He hadn't committed to go anywhere yet, but they've got talent all over the place on offense and defensively. They look a lot like Lone Star's defense, where they're all big and fast and athletic and cover a lot of ground in a hurry. So it'll be a challenge for us to play with those guys. The great thing about it is that we do get home field advantage and playing here in Frisco.
All right, thank you, Coach, for spending your time with us.
You're welcome. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Kevin Bosker and Shakar Pinham. Our Knights will be playing Mansfield Timberview at Memorial Stadium tonight at 7 p.m. Tickets will be $10 at the gate.
But sports are not the only major topic of today. The Future Farmers of America will meet tonight at 6 p.m. If you want to participate, please come to room 808 to support the club.
And there's something surprising that you haven't heard about. Here's Vinny Vamilapoli with a night and day about the changes to the school day next year.
Hey Knights, this is Vinny Mulapoli with this week's edition of Night and Day. Today we're going to ask students how they feel about the school board adding 10 minutes to the school day. On Tuesday, the school board decided to add 10 minutes to the school day. How do you feel about this?
I honestly don't like it, because everybody will just be staying in class for an extra 10 minutes, and nobody wants that. They just want to get out.
I think it's great because we'll get out of school sooner.
That's stupid because I don't like school. I want to go home when I want to go home.
I do not like this at all. I don't like it at all. I look forward to getting out of my fourth period class at 4:15 at the end of the day. Now I find out that we get out at 4:25. It's 4:25 we get out. I don't like that because I'm going to go home. No, I'm going to go home and sleep and eat Chick-fil-A. And that makes me sad because I want to get out of school.
This addition allows us to finish the school year by Memorial Weekend. Do you think it's worth it?
I don't, because we only have 3 days in the second week, so it's not worth it. I want to go home, okay?
No, we get 3 days less of school, but I don't care at all. I know I'm going to be a sophomore then. I just feel bad for the freshmen that have to do their whole 4 years having to get out at 4:25, and I think it's unacceptable.
More time with family and friends, and to decompress from the year, a little bit more time, that's all.
Yes, because y'all will be out of school earlier and y'all will get ready for college soon.
The school board will have another meeting to decide the school timings and whether it should be 8:55 to 4:20 or 9 to 4:25. Which would you prefer and why?
8:55 to 4:20. Less traffic. Why not?
9 to 4:25 because I'm not getting up any earlier than I have to.
9 to 4:25.
Can I ask why?
Because some people are late to school and 9 o'clock is actually a lot better, and some people sometimes will oversleep.
9 to 4:25. Duh, I can't even get here by 9 o'clock. Why would I want to be late at like 8:55?
That's it for this week's edition of Night and Day. I'm Vinny Muopali. See y'all next week.
Fine Arts is also in the spotlight this week. Their holiday showcase will be on December 5th and 6th at 7 p.m. in the IHS auditorium. Tickets will be held at will call on the night of the event. Adults are $10 and students are $5.
The box office will open at 6 and the house will be open around 6:30. If you want the best seats, please arrive early before they sell out. The online pre-sales ends on Friday the 29th at 4 p.m.
And moving on, the Royals would like to invite your maybe little siblings or kind of younger children in your family or something like that to the Royals Mini Clinic. The clinic will be held on December 14th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the IHS gym. There will be food, games, and a halftime routine that will be performed on December 17th at the boys' basketball game against Reedy High School. The price is $45 per dancer, and they will also receive a Royals t-shirt and a picture with the Royal. Any kid up to 8th grade can participate.
Well, that's all we have for you today, Knights. Please follow us on Twitter at IHS Night TV.
Have a great week, and remember to keep it noble, Knights.